We on Breaking the Silence were all ex-Israeli combat soldiers who served during the second intifada, who are today trying to work to expose the reality of occupation through our own experience and our testimonies about things we've done and participated in. So basically what we do is, in a way, Breaking the Silence does two main things. The heart of our work, in a way, the fuel that we run on, is documenting soldiers' testimonies. So we video, audio tape soldiers and ex-soldiers about their experience in the occupied territories. We research, verify, cross-check these testimonies and publish them. And the second thing we do is we try to use our personal experience and the testimonies as an educational tool. So we do a lot of lectures, guided tours, and I must say that in general, the idea behind Breaking the Silence is not, we're not here to promote a specific political solution to the conflict. We're not, in a way, there is no political to-do list at the end of a talk with Breaking the Silence. It's more about trying to bring the reality back home, trying to hold up a mirror in front of our society and demand from our society to take responsibility for what is being done in its name. It's about this is what's going on in our name, and we as a society need to decide whether it's acceptable or not. It's about trying to ask the most important question, the way we see it, for a democratic society, and that is the question of what is our moral boundaries as a society. What are the red lines? To what extent you stand behind your military, and when you say no, not in my name. So we come with our testimonies, with our stories, and we demand from others to come with their answers, whether it's behind the red line or not.
I asked you before, but I want to ask you again, what need led you to the decision to establish, to create this organization?
Look, in a way, I'm a bit unique than most of the people who do the kind of work I do today. I grew up as, I would say, on the right side of Israeli politics. I did my high school in a settlement in the West Bank near Ramallah. I joined the army. I served 3 years as a combat infantry soldier and a commander. 2 years of those 3 years were in the West Bank during the highlight of the second intifada from March 2001 to March 2004. And throughout my service, I kind of did all what soldiers do in the occupied territories. You stand in checkpoints, arrest operations, house demolitions, and patrols, whatever. And I had some doubts during my military service, but when you're a soldier, somehow you find a way to continue on. There is not much time for questions. There is not much time to, and there's always things that are greater than you. There's orders, there's missions, there's, And later on, when I became a commander, it was even worse because I had more responsibility. I couldn't allow myself to ask these questions. Things need to be done in the military. That's how it works. And I think the strongest thing there is this bond of comradeship, that it doesn't matter what you think about what you're doing. If you are next in line to replace your friend in, in a few hours, you'll be there because it's your friend, because that's why you're there. And it was towards the end of my service when I was a company sergeant. I was sitting down with myself, starting to plan my life, where I'm going from now, what it is that I want to be when I grow up. And just being in this place of thinking about life as a civilian was for me the moment of change, was for me, because suddenly I stopped thinking as a professional combat soldier. Suddenly the way I've justified things to myself didn't make sense anymore. Suddenly, it's like the first second you take one step out, you start to observe from outside, and I found myself in a very terrifying situation, or position, I would say, because I couldn't explain to myself what I did and why. And I think, at first you don't want to believe that it was you doing all this. You want to think that it's the uniform, the helmet, the rifle, walking the streets, But comes a moment where you cannot escape anymore. It was me, it was me, Yehuda, doing all this. And I think that's the one thing that brings me to where I am today. It's this understanding that this is what I did, this is what I participated in. And I just felt that I can't continue my life without doing something about it. I started talking to my comrades. I discovered that we all feel the same. And somewhere in the back of our mind, we all understood that something was wrong. And that was the moment that Breaking the Silence was born. And we sat down and started discussing our service and starting to talk about things we've done, opening our photo albums, looking at things we photographed and, documented through our service. And it might sound naive today, but one of the most shocking things we discovered was the moment of understanding that people back home don't actually know what we know. That anyone who wasn't with us on the ground doesn't actually know what we've done. And that's where Breaking the Silence tries to come in, is bring the reality back home. We called it, I got out of the military in March 2004. June 2004, 3 months after we opened a photo exhibit in Tel Aviv, we called it Bringing Hebron to Tel Aviv.
Can I ask you, if, from your point of view, it's the army that is changing the people, it's the occupation, it's the general environment, it's what?
Look, I think the biggest theme we're fighting as Breaking the Silence is that once a society is silent about something, it doesn't necessarily mean that we don't talk about it. Sometimes in order to be silent about an issue, we need to talk about it. And I'll explain what I mean. From time to time, stories pop up in the media. A soldier looted there, a soldier beat a Palestinian in that checkpoint, a soldier abused that guy. The thing is that it's always being reported. The way it's being framed is, here's another exceptional case. There is another rotten apple. And this rotten apple guy who abused this specific Palestinian, that specific checkpoint, that specific time, now we'll court-martial him, throw him in jail, and our conscience as a society is clean because we treat our bad apples. But what's Breaking the Silence is trying to say is, look guys, it's not bad apples. It's not exceptional cases. We all did that. Because we were all there, that's why we all behave this way. Because I don't believe that you can be there and not be there at the same time. I don't believe that you can be an occupier and not act as such. It just doesn't work together. Look, I fired grenades, dozens of grenades every night for almost 4 months in Hebron and to Palestinian civilian neighborhoods where people lived in response to Palestinian fire. I used Palestinians as human shields. Not 10, not 50, not 20 times. On a weekly basis, if not more. And the list of all the bad things that I did, I can, it's going to take us hours.
How is it to break the silence? How is it to convince the people to break the silence?
I think the story behind Breaking the Silence is that, once you don't come with kind of like a very clear political demand and a political say, that's why you need to do 1, 2, 3. Suddenly it's all about whether this is what's going on the ground or not. And everyone who served in the occupied territories knows that this is what's going on the ground. Okay? Everyone who served in the occupied territories know that you use human shields. For different reasons. You walk on a patrol and you see a suspicious bag. Might be a bomb, might be garbage, you don't know. You grab the first round, leave Palestine in the street, send him to pick it up. If it's a bomb, it will explode. If not, you continue to walk. You come to arrest someone, you use what we call the neighbor procedure. You grab one of the neighbors, put him in front of your patrol when you approach the house. You enter to a village, you walk in a patrol, kids start to throw stones, you don't have the patience to start chase them and running after them. Grab one of the guys from the nearby house, take him with you. Okay, put him in front of the patrol, no stone will be thrown at you. And there's a lot of different things and different ways how to do this very simple thing that maybe for you as a civilian sounds awful, but for me as a combat soldier who was there sounds more or less like drinking a coffee.